Okay, hello Cloud Gurus and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we're going to activate our cluster. So essentially what we've done is we've gone in and initialized it. We've then installed a client that we can use to interact with our cluster, which is sitting inside our private subnet. And now what we need to do is activate our cluster using that client. Before we do that though, we need to have a good understanding of the different roles with HSM or different users. So with HSM, we have four main user types, and we've got the pre-crypto officer, and this is basically the default administrator when we first provision our cloud HSM. Our pre-co or pre-crypto officer will be removed as soon as we go in and create our first user. When we go in and create our first user, that's going to be our primary crypto officer or PCO, and that primary crypto officer can then go ahead and generate other crypto officers. The primary crypto officer and the other crypto officers will have exactly the same permissions. The primary is just the first one that's been created. Now, once we've done that, we can create our crypto users. We also have our appliance users. So our crypto officer is just basically performs user management operations. So they go in, they create and delete users and change user passwords. That's literally all they can do. They can't do anything with our keys. Our crypto users, however, have two important functions. So they do key management. They can go in and create, delete, and share and import and export our cryptographic keys. And they can also do cryptographic operations. So they can use cryptographic keys for encryption, decryption, signing, verifying, etc., etc. We then have our appliance user. This is a very basic user that can perform cloning and synchronization operations. AWS Cloud HSM uses the appliance user to synchronize the HSMs in the AWS cluster, and these users exist on all HSMs provided by AWS. They have limited permissions. And if you want to see all the different permissions, just go to Cloud HSM User Guide and go over to the HSM users. It's under what's in AWS Cloud HSM Concepts, HSM users. If we scroll all the way down, we'll be able to see the user permission table. So you can see that there's no one user who has all permissions. The crypto officers are able to go in and basically add and create users, whereas our crypto user down here, they can't change passwords, they can't add or remove users, but they can go in and basically encrypt, decrypt, sign, verify, etc., etc. Our appliance users have limited permissions, but still more permissions than our unauthenticated users, and our unauthenticated users can basically just go in and get basic cluster information, and they can actually zeroize a HSM by trying to brute force logging into the admin username and password. If you go in more than 5 times, as I mentioned in section, I think it was 2, you will have your HSM destroyed. So let's go ahead and log into our EC2 instance that has our utility tools installed on it. Okay, so I've logged into that EC2 instance. I'm going to run this command for the very first time. This will be in the resources section of the course. So I've now connected to my Cloud HSM. Woohoo! So you can see here we have a very basic command line interface. If you want to understand what to do, you can type help and get a list of all the different commands. Now, the first thing we want to do is enable end-to-end encryption. So just type in enable, then underscore E2E. That will enable our end-to-end encryption. So everything we're doing now is encrypted. Next thing we want to do is take a look at our users. So let's go ahead and list our users. And we can see our 2 users here. We can see Preco. So that's our pre-crypto officer, and then we can see our appliance user. Over here, we have their usernames. So we've got admin and we've got app user, and in here we've got their ID. So our Preco is 1 and our app user is 2. So the very first thing we want to do is log in and basically go and create our very first admin. So to do that, we're just going to type login and then HSM all uppercase, the name or the user type that we're logging in as. So we're logging in as our Preco, then the actual username itself, which is admin, and then the password, and the default password is password. So that will log us in as our Preco. So we've now logged in as our Preco. What we now want to do is go ahead and create our very first officer. And you'll see my screen's changed a little bit. Don't even ask. I went down a rabbit warren, but I'm back to here. So what we need to do before we create our first crypto user is we need to log out and log back in again. So what we do is we type log out HSM and hit enter. That will log us out, and then I need to log back in. So log in HSM, and then I'm logging in as the crypto officer. The username is admin, and my password was acloudguru123 exclamation exclamation. That then logs me in. Now what I want to do is go ahead and create my first crypto user. So I'm going to type in create user. The user type is a crypto user. The username is going to be Ryan, and again I'm going to do a same password just to keep it simple. You'd never do this in real life. These would be different people with different passwords, obviously. So I'm going to go ahead and create my user, hit yes, and we've created my user. If I type in list users, I'll be able to see this user. And there's my user there. Ryan is a crypto user, and he is ID key number 3. So again, it's a good idea now to log out, and then we'll quit. So just type log out and then HSM and hit enter. We've now logged out, and now I'm going to quit this utility. So I've quitted that utility. What we want to do now is we want to go ahead and open up another utility. So I'm going to go and clear the screen. Okay, so in order to manage my keys, I need to use the key management utility. And so in order to start that, I basically have to go start cloud HSM -client. That will then start the process to run it. I then need to use the following command to start the key management utility manager. And so there we go. I have now gone in and created that. And so it started. So if we just scroll up, you'll be able to see all your different help commands, and the syntax for understanding these commands is the command and then -h, which will help us. So the very first thing we want to do is we want to log into our HSM as our crypto user. So we type in login HSM, and then we're going to do this as a crypto user type. The username was Ryan, and then the password was acloudguru123 exclamation exclamation. And you can see I already got that command wrong, but it is much more user-friendly, this one, than the other one. So if we just type in again, so it's login HSM, and then my user is -u, so user type is going to be crypto user. My password is going to be acloudguru, make sure I get the password right, guru123 exclamation exclamation. My username is Ryan, and we don't have two-factor authentication. And you can see here it's returned a success code. Okay, so I'm going to end the lecture here. In the very next lecture, what we're going to do is we're going to generate a private and public key pair. We're then going to download that out of our Cloud HSM, and we're then going to go in and provision an EC2 instance with that new public key and then connect to it using our private key. So if you've got the time, join me in the next lecture. Thank you.